Get your coffee. Whoops. Are we on here? Well, I just won't use it. Yeah. I was just wondering if this was on. Okay. Well, I'll yell.
Yeah. No, you won't yell.
I won't yell, okay?
Or we'll hit the button.
What do we do without Tom? Tom won.
That'll be $1.
Thank you. All right, would everybody please rise, and I would like Chaplain Pounders to open our meeting.
God, we are met here as we look forward tomorrow to that time when Jesus made a victorious entry into Jerusalem. It was a happy, wonderful day, and it is still a wonderful, happy day. For when we look forward from there, what we find Easter. And with Easter we know that the world is good, and we are good in this world, and that we, with Him, live gloriously forever. And so we give thanks. Give thanks for Jesus and His leadership. We give thanks for those people in the United States who, when it was not the United States, put it together to remove ourselves from the shackles of royal and imprisonment. So, as we meet, let us remember, let us give praise, and let us always be in the mood of free, healthy, creative, positive men. In the name of the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Compatriot Howell, would you lead us in the pledge to the Texas flag?
All me with the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Compatriot Morton, would you lead us in the song?
My
Country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. And even though I was out of order, would you, Jerry Brown, would you lead us in the affirmation? No?
We
Of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifices established the United States of America. We affirm our faith in the principles of liberty and our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend against every foe.
You may be seated. Thank you. I know this is a little bit of a challenge, this meeting, because we had some weather, and I understand we've had some interesting driving getting to the meeting. Both our new president and I were coming the same way on 635, and we're dodging wrecks all over the place. To the hospitality chairman, Mr. McDowell. And do you have a report?
Oh, sure. I guess the reader report helped it. Welcome all of you. Sean was again helping me this morning. I appreciate you coming. And we look forward to seeing you each month. One other little item that we sometimes overlook. Anybody with a birthday in the month of April? Nobody? We got an Italian singer here. No birthday. Are you raising your hand, Tom?
Unfortunately, yes.
You April?
I'm April.
Okay, let's just raise the calendars. Why don't you join me in?
I meant every word of that.
I know that, and I appreciate it.
Let's just do happy birthday.
Let's do it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tom. Happy birthday to you.
You know what's really good about that, besides you leading it?
The glass didn't break.
No, I've got it on film. So when you do your tryouts, when Wheel of Fortune comes through, just let me.
And many more.
And many more. For those of you who have asked, it was my 76th, and I'm proud to say I can still stand up. This morning we have, even with the crowd that we have, we've got some very honored guests. Of course, first of all, member Jerry Brown, who is our inland registrar. Of course, Chaplain Frank Pounders, thank you. Chancellor Tracy Pounders of Good Voice, and soon to talk to us, our new president, David Temple. By the way, all of those four gentlemen, plus another raft of people, were installed, some re-elected, some installed with new positions at the state meeting last weekend, which after David's done, I'll talk a little bit about that. So, now a lot of you have known David longer than I have, and probably better than I have. I know a little bit about him. He was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the home of liberty. But he was raised in Texas. And he's been here the majority of he said 60 years. Married, 3 children. I met his kids, had dinner with him when I was down at Austin at the meeting. Great kids, really enjoyed that. As a matter of fact, I have a whole complete bio of him about his 37 years in banking and how he's been in the SAR and all the chairs he's held at the local and the state level. But I was really interested in some of the stories that your kids told me. The one that stuck in my mind was you were on a vacation a few years ago, and you were driving through, I want to say, Pennsylvania. And the kids have been in the car long enough, and I believe your good wife had had just about as much fun as she can have. And out of the blue comes, I've got a good idea. And they all said, oh, what's that? And I said, we're going to stop over here. There's a graveyard that I want to look at. Not one of their better vacations, anyhow. So without further ado, chapter member, compatriot, good friend for a lot of us, our new state president, David Temple.
Yeah, my family's famous for not liking some of my ideas. I'll give part of what I spoke to in Austin, but having changed some things and added some things to it, and then talk about a few things going on at the state and national level as well. And one of the focus for this year will be membership, for its membership in our chapters that touch the lives around the state. Our members present the medals, certificates, recognize the outstanding students, citizens, first responders, which was done here last month, fill the color guards and participate in public events, parades, and ceremonies in our communities. Our Texas Society annual report for last year reflects a lot of work was accomplished. With more members, we can do even more. To keep it simple with membership, I just thought let's keep the 3 R's: recruitment, retention, reinstatement. Recruit new members. We have to continue to recruit membership, and we've been pretty good at the state level when we added just over 300 members this last year, but we can do better. The National Society provided Texas Society with almost 800 leads last year, people that expressed interest in some fashion. And I stated I wasn't sure how we tracked those as far as making phone contact, assist with research, applications, and then finally membership. But we have a process working now, Sam Massey has taken on, that hopefully we'll be able to track what's going on with these leads that get distributed. Let's continue to document the leads from the DAR members, as we have received hundreds. We submitted over 279 DAR finder forms last year, which basically document, that's how SAR documents that a DAR member provided a lead, helped with the application, even if we use the application as part of our documentation. DAR finder forms are important. Retention is a little bit tougher, as Ralph knows from experience. We find 300 compatriots who failed to pay their dues this past year. We know many just plain forget. Others lose interest for whatever reason. Others become ill, and sadly a few will join Chapter Eternal each year. It's up to us to find ways to encourage members to get involved, to want to belong, give them a reason to keep their membership current, to show them we actually have fun in what we do. Mentoring program is another idea that was discussed at National that I know several chapters do use, where essentially you're assigning a member to a new member or a prospect, and it's your job to teach them about the SAR. How does it work? What do we do? What's involved? Maintain contact. Encourage them to come to your meetings. Bring their family, or if they've got sons or grandsons, bring them. Think about when you joined. Was it a great experience, or could it have been better? And then if they're not paying dues, well, then reinstatement becomes important. When they fail to pay their dues, they get dropped. We have to figure out a way to reinstate them. That's when the Ralph system kicks in, and he contacts people to encourage them to pay their dues. We have others around the state that do not as much work as Ralph. One in particular is probably challenging to get pretty close, and that's Henry Garcia down at the San Antonio chapter. He is the new chairman of the membership committee for the state, and just has ideas for chasing members to collect dues. And then if we do that, then we can grow beyond what was 3,200 members when I put this together. After the official reconciliation with National and kind of the fight about who paid their dues and who didn't, I think we're a little over 2,950 that have actually paid. So we've got some work to get it back to just the 3,200. Then I discussed by asking how many people had children or grandchildren in college or on the way. Tuition cost approaching $30,000 or more. Private colleges often double that. Every family could use help with the cost. We have scholarships attached to our youth contests. At the state level, we just had 5 or 6 youth contests where the first prize winner receives a scholarship of $2,500. In many of the contests, it'll scale down to 3rd and some in 5th place. And then we need to promote these contests, but donations by generous families to the Texas Society Patriot Fund have grown and enabled that fund to grow so that we could raise the first prize up to these $2,500. And if we continue to add funds to the Patriot Fund, we'll be able to go beyond that. Some people, the national contest winners get $10,000. So I think our winner last year received a scholarship for $10,000. Those that won the $2,500 will go on to national to compete for that. So it's certainly a dollar amount that's worthwhile. We need to promote it, publicize it, communicate it to the DAR and CAR chapters we visit. Students in public schools, private schools, and homeschooled should all be aware of what we offer. During the first Texas Society meeting I attended, then President Harry Fife, which Tom and a few others may remember, called for a show of hands of first-time attendees. And what he wanted to know was, what committee do you want to be on? And the idea was, it wasn't what he wanted. He wanted to hear what you were interested in. You go out and look at the committees. You find a place that you would have an interest in serving, and then step up and serve. So we need to identify folks the places where we want to be involved and get involved. I would encourage members to be active in the chapter, Dallas, or another one if you have it, the Texas Society. We'd love to have more compatriots involved at the state level. We need backups, assistants to many of the officer positions to learn that position so that they can step in when called upon to do so. I think you would find it rewarding if you do it. Several that were mentioned earlier have been doing it for a while. Couple of things at state beyond the call for that are the state historian, John Anderson, who was just installed, is working on a project with others to gather information about Texas Society members to assist in identifying what are being called notable members. And it's really more of a learn more about your fellow members. Many are attorneys, judges, politicians, mayors, city councilmen, company executives, or involved in Boy Scouts, or all that stuff. They just want to gather information for everybody that's willing to do it to get an idea of what our members are doing. And then you can save it and then check the database or whatever and find out how many are involved in this particular category. Education, college professors, whatever it might be. That's kind of a main thing at the state. At national, they've started working on a Patriot research system. This will be similar, I don't think it'll be quite as good as the GRS that the DAR has, where if you look at that, you can see online lineages for many of their patriots, and then it lists the various applications of members that have used that lineage or that patriot, and it'll run through different children. The SAR is behind in getting that. There's certainly a way to provide on a website. There's a way that can then connect to income generating possibilities of providing record copies to folks because they found some part of their family in that system. So that's a project that will need volunteers. It's already underway. Bill Mars will be the state contact for that and has issued a call for volunteers to assist him. Another item at nationally you probably saw is the membership directory. You got yellow cards, and if you're like me, you've gotten, I think, the 5th set in the last week or two. The National Society has done prepared a directory about every 4 or 5 years for the last, I want to say, 15 or 20 years probably. And so this is just an update to what is about a 5-year-old directory. They've had responses so far from about 17,000 of the 32,000 some odd members at National. And there's not any obligation to purchase a copy. I'll tell you, it's a sales item as well as an info gathering item. It's an opportunity for National to generate some income. But there's nothing wrong with saying, no, I don't want a copy, no, I don't want to buy one, no, I don't need it, if you're also willing to update some information. Just kind of in closing on those items, let me make sure I'm not leaving one thing out. The website you'll find over time, they're reworking that. There's a new website was brought out several years ago. It had pieces to it, including the new application form. They're reworking some of that because of challenges that were raised over the last several years. Hopefully that will get done shortly. Just as we got used to the nice legal size application, there's been discussion promoting a smaller application form, just what we need, 8.5 by 11. I'm not sure how much traction that's got so far, but it seems to be moving. I think that's most of it. I'll leave that to Tom to bring that item up. So with that, I would just offer the challenges. Help someone join the SAR. Consider making donations to the Texas Patriot Fund. to support our youth contests and as part of your philanthropy during the year, and then volunteer your time. I'd just like to thank everyone for the honor and privilege of serving as your president this year. I look forward to a year of hard work. We touch more lives. I know we can have some fun along the way presenting the medals and awards that we do, and we can accomplish great things. So I thank you for inviting me to speak. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them. I can't answer everything, but I'd be glad to try to answer them. Jerry.
Now, as I recall, there was quite a discussion about state committees at the meeting, and a lot of pleas for help from the chapters on these state committees.
Correct.
Frankly, to be honest, I don't even know what state committees do.
So that's a good question about how the state is run. A way to kind of find out is to just pick some off the schedule or look at the website and kind of see where you might have interest. At one time when I was doing the position you were doing, genealogy, I'll go attend and see what's going on there. I think the thought is the same people can't do it every year. The same people won't do it every year. We need members to step up and get involved in how the state is run. The committees oftentimes decide some actions that need to be taken, then those are brought to the BOM in a motion format often to change the way we're doing some things. You heard several of those at the meeting. Tracy will be correcting me a lot this year as I try to fumble my way through some of the things I'm supposed to be doing, but it's just another opportunity to volunteer and provide service to the society, learn about what's going on. Membership is one I talked about. There's probably a committee for just about everything. The Patriot Fund I talked about, there's a group of trustees that manage the investments for the Patriot Fund. We're fortunate that the Patriot Fund has garnered investments of probably in the 700,000 range, 600,000 range. So, obviously you want to try to get it to a level where just the earnings from it could support the awards we're trying to do in 5 or 6 contests and bring those awards up. We have another program where if you bought a national life membership, you pay dues to that pays dues to national. If you bought a state perpetual membership, that pays your dues to the state and up to $9.50 to the chapter. So there's a group that manages those investments to try to generate the best return on those. But there's one for state meetings, planning meetings. There's one for the district VPs. Gary Lovell, our district VP, will go to that meeting periodically to hear what other district VPs are finding in their district, what's going on. So it's just another opportunity to try to do something. It's a full schedule. You could fill the day with committee meetings, and then sometimes go to one for half of it and then go to another one if they're opposite each other. That's a good question. Any others? Well, I'll do something since we want to do a catch-up. Reverend Pounders, would you come up here? Frank?
Whatever it is, I didn't do it.
Well, sure you did. And you've been doing it. I think you've been doing it for much of your career, too. So, at the state meeting, you were presented the Silver Roger Sherman Medal for your service to the Texas Society. There's a medal. Here's a certificate. Let's turn around and get Tom to take a picture. Yeah. This is the only thing you missed by not doing it. Oh, no. Tracy stepped up and tried to fill your shoes, but he did a good job. He was doing some double duty down there. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Yep.
Mr. President, if you'll stay right here.
Okay.
Mark, would you join me? It's the tradition.
Oh, it is.
We want it to continue. So, Mark?
David, first of all, congratulations on your induction, and we're very pleased that you're our new president this year.
Thank you.
We'd like to award you a certificate of appreciation.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Mr. President.
Uh-oh.
Every president gets one of these. And you need to have one.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I hope it goes well on your desk or somewhere in the decor
It
at your
will.
house.
I'll find somewhere for it. Don't worry. Tom would try to get me to put it on the hood of my car probably.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Did we clap for the president?
Yes, we did, right now. I seem to have missed a few people. One of our new re-elected state officers, District 6 Vice President Gary Lovell's in the back. I didn't see you sneak in. Okay. But we also have a guest this morning. Mr. Inland, would you please introduce our guest, David?
Well, first of all, I'd like to introduce my wife, Linda, who's
You're the first.
and then we do have a prospective member, David Aldridge, here, who's worked with us before.
Linda's on the way to a meeting this morning, and Mark, they've got to leave a little early. She's involved with the Genealogy Society, so I'm not sure that one of these times we may not have her up here speaking, you know? Okay. David, anyhow, welcome. Jerry Pinkerton sends his whatever from wherever he is, because he's off somewhere. I heard mentioned that they thought it was in a grass skirt, but I don't know anything about that. Okay.
That's an image that can't be unseen.
Yeah. True, absolutely. A couple of things I'd like from the President's report, just to tag on to what David said. This was the first full state meeting I went to last week. I was at part of the one last year, but I didn't even know where the parking lot was last year. I tried to attend as many committee meetings and functions as I can to just get a feel for what's going on. And I got to tell you something, it was a great experience. I can highly recommend to anybody that hasn't been to a state meeting, they should go. Because if you want to see how this organization runs, and you ought to see how it gets steered and the people that are doing it, that's how you find out. And there's a lot of people, of course, in our chapter that we're very, very proud of the people that have represented Dallas and at the state level, but from all over the state. A couple things that came up there that I would mention before I get into some of the really nice things that happened for our chapter. Earlier, David pointed out Ralph McDowell. Now, Ralph, I'm happy to tell you, because of your efforts, continual efforts, and thank you very much for copying me on those epistles that you send out, because that keeps me current. But we still have retained the position of the largest paid membership chapter in the state. Yep. Now that's the good news. Let me tell you the bad news. If we've got 231 or 232 paid members, take a look around the room. I'd love to be able to say we don't have enough room for the membership attending, so we need to work on something, and the advisory council, Tom Smith and Bill Richardson and Marshall Scannon and I and Tom are working on a few of those things about membership and increasing the activity, because that's part of getting involved. Now, as I got down there and I went to these different committee meetings and the general sessions, that's when, surprisingly, they give out a number of awards. Well, guess what? We did good. We did real good. These are two streamers that we were awarded for our activity of the CAR, or of the SAR supporting the CAR. Now, for those of you who haven't been through this before, when we put up the flags every meeting and the streamers are hanging down, or when we're marching and posting colors, that's what these are. They're for accomplishments. Both of these happen to be for the support of the children of the American Revolution. We don't hear a lot about what we do. We're very fortunate to have Bradley Sue come to our meetings, and it's also very nice to have Nick Harper in the back, who has for years dealt with the CAR. So I'm very happy to say that we're going to add those two streamers to our parade flags. Now, this is the one that Tom 1 will have to explain to me. We've got a silver star, but I'm not sure which streamer that goes on. So somebody will have to tell me. But it was an award, and they gave it to the Dallas chapter, and I was happy to take it. Now, Marshall Scanlon isn't here, and he had worked pretty hard on the brochure contest, where we go out to the individual schools and the elementary schools, and we get the children involved in activities. Well, one of those activities, of course, John Morton gets involved with because he does the posters for us. And this year, we didn't win anything in a poster contest. That's the first time that hasn't happened in a long time. So next year, we'll do it, right? But I got some of our people together, and we went down to Griner Academy in South Dallas, and I met with an art teacher, and Mr. Scanlon and I worked with two other folks, Mr. Prather, Mr. Harrison, and we went through some brochures that the kids do on a subject matter. This one happened to be the Articles of Confederation. And you had 5 magic documents that founded the United States, and you picked one, and they did, and they had to write and they had to illustrate. I'm happy to say that that one brochure got second place in the state. And to that end, sometime toward the latter part of April, I'm going to be making an appointment with that school, and we're going to go down the color guard, and we're going to give a presentation of not only the second place winner, but the other 4 entries that we got that were all honorable mention, and they're going to get their due reward, and we're going to have a little kind of an assembly, and we'll do it in Colonial so that the kids will have an opportunity to talk and ask questions, and then maybe get inspired for next year, okay? Now, the next thing that happened that was, I was really taken back a little bit. We have been in competition in other areas at the state, one of which is our scrapbook that we keep telling everybody, record your activities, send them in to Tom, or send them in to me, or send them in to Joe, because we're compilating this to make the scrapbook, which we get together every year. It's on the back table right here. It's about that thick. All the chapters put one of those together. And Plano has been kicking us every year. Nay, nay. This year, Joseph, you won. We were number 1. So you need to come up here. I couldn't get the ribbon because there was a mix-up. There was a big storm that, just like this morning, went on down there. But I thought you ought to have something. So that's the official Texas State Meeting shirt. And I've got one, and you've got one, and they don't.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Don't go away.
Okay.
Mr. Whitelock,
I hear you.
Would you please hand that camera to someone that knows how to work it?
Ain't nobody.
Chancellor will handle it. By the way, Tracy, your father asked me, because I told him I missed him down at the meeting, and I said that you had filled in and given a number of our references, and he says, how did he do? I said, geez, I thought he did great. And he says, oh, he'd have been a good one. So, by the way, one of the committee meetings I went to was his. Law and Rules. And the meeting started at,
9:30,
and the meeting was over,
9:31.
my kind of meeting. Now that I've got Tom up here, because I don't get a chance to do this very often with all the help that he's been to me, but he's been putting out our Minuteman for how long? As long as I can remember, right? And everybody's seen it. Everybody gets the minutes. He won.
No, okay, get closer. Get closer. Here. Yeah. And this takes a little while to read the chart. Here.
18 grand.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you for your efforts. Really appreciate it. By the way, he's still got some of those thumb drives that are that scrapbook. And if you haven't got one, what are they, 20 bucks? 20 bucks, and the money goes to Nick. Okay? Okay, oh, a couple other things that we did pick up. John Morton, I'm going to need your help just for a second. Yes, sir, please. You have one duty that I know you'll love doing. It's kind of a follow-up before, but we got the special recognition for the Outstanding American History Teacher for
Sharifa Mason.
Sharifa Mason, and I want you to find a way to give that to her.
I can get it to her.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah. Did she win state?
She won in, yes, in
That's
18.
my understanding, John, that she won the state.
She won the state?
Yes, but in
You
18.
should be hearing, you or she should be hearing from the state. Hopefully it's you hearing from the state.
Okay.
What her options are for award travel.
Good, good. Does this go to, does that go, if win state, does that mean she has the opportunity to win national?
That's my understanding, but I'll get somebody
Okay.
involved to verify that.
Good.
Yeah, the reason, and I understand why we're having this discussion, because if you look at that certificate, it says for 2018, because of the timing of when you have the state meeting and when they do the judging, because we also got the sponsoring certificate for the same thing.
All right.
So the one with her name on it is hers, the one with sponsored.
That's ours. Yep.
So
She'll ask me this question, does she get any money?
I'll get the details and I'll get it communicated.
Okay, you have my email?
Yep.
Good deal, thank you. She'll like to see it.
When you see her, you might take your checkbook.
Every time I talk to her, she wants to know how much money she has.
We'll get you some details, promise.
On the star, that probably goes on the streamer for presenting flags.
That's exactly what it was. You're right.
And if we don't have a streamer, I know somebody that can get it for us.
There we go.
They might be in my truck.
And you're right, Mr. President, you're right, because that was when we talked about flag certificates, because we were having that discussion about how many of those were passed out. We were pretty high on the list of a number of flag certificates. Okay, number one. The point is, they're not that difficult to do. I know every time we do an ROTC, we give one, but there's a lot of other places it can be given. And we've got plenty of blank certificates now that we can print, because the chapter got 400 blank certificates with the seal and the monitor on top when they had the sale back in February. So we did a good thing. We saved a lot of money doing that. Okay. The other thing that we got was, remember Trevor Burke, young man that spoke to us? First place in the SAR Ross Perot Eagle Scholarship Contest. That was Trevor. But this is our part of that because we sponsored him. And he was there and got our picture taken and all that kind of stuff. I'll also tell you that he was a little disappointed, but he only finished 4th in the oration contest. It was at the SAR Children's Lunch. But we had 6 really great presentations. And the young man from Tyler, a guy from Tyler, and I want to tell you something, he knocked it out of the park. So Trevor was good, but this guy just was better. But still, we got that. Yes, sir.
We came in 4th on the oration. What did he win?
That was for the Eagle Scout.
How about the essay?
We don't know yet. Yeah.
It's one of those situations where the awards chairman has so much to do and so many reports to get out and that type of thing. He says, I'll let you know. We're just hoping he doesn't kick off before he lets us know.
Which feeds back again to what President Temple said. At the state level and at the chapter level, you need good people to get involved. And you don't have to take it over all yourself. You can be part of a company. You can have 2 people on a committee. One of the things I learned by going to the Children of the American Revolution state meeting a couple weekends ago, I know they're smaller children, and some of them are really tiny, but just great kids. When they do committees, they do it in duo. So there's 2 people that can work on a committee, so any one person doesn't feel so held down by whatever needs to get done. Now, I know they have an adult advisor, and many times Alan Prather has needed an adult advisor, but I'm working on that, okay? But you can get involved with the things here at the chapter just like you do at the state. Okay. Mr. First Vice President, do you have a report?
For next month's meeting, we have a speaker, Mr. John Burho, who will be talking about his experiences in the U.S. Navy during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
All right.
We'll be talking a little bit about the events that led up to that and what the aftermath.
Very good. In your behest, by the way, I've traded some cards with some of the chapter presidents, particularly the guy down in Austin who was one of the host chapter. He's got a list of speakers, and we're going to put together one and trade them with him, because every now and then you get to a trough on a speaker. Yeah, Jerry.
Kind of wanted, I've been together for a long time. A few years ago, we had that SMU lawyer speak about something. He's a member of our chapter. I couldn't think of his name. I don't know if you have it in your records.
Well, we've had a number of SMU professors speak. Money Monsanto, Baker.
This was the guy Mark Hansen had found that does the update on the legal.
Legal.
Yeah.
I heard him first at the Magna Carta, where he spoke about the importance of the Magna Carta and the Constitution. He was good.
Yeah. Speak up, Mark. Okay. One of the things I'd also like to thank Jerry Brown for, he sent me a memo or an email, and I'm getting ready to pass it on to Mark Harrison, because Mark, as our program chairman, is the guy that could probably use this right now more than I did. The great, not scholarship, great, I forget the name of it, but there's a firm out there that sends out, or you can buy CDs, and it has just a multitude of subjects, from brain power to Great courses, that's it. And they have a number of professors from various universities that do the talking head thing, and I've got a couple of my own. Well, they're having a sale recently, and Jerry very kindly bought a series, and he sent it to me. I haven't clicked on it to open it, because when you open it, now you've got it on your computer. I'm going to send it to you so you can look at, because there might be something in there that we could easily transport into doing an Americanism, or for that matter, platform. But I wanted to let you know that. And Jerry, I thank you, not only as a chapter member, but from the state level. Thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate that. Okay, our second vice president, Alan, I know you've been working on the ROTC. What for the cause?
Need all the help I can get.
Need all the help I can get.
And then some.
We're going to meet, Alan and Tom and I are going to meet after the meeting just to make sure where we are on the list of ROTCs and schools that we're going to be delivering to, like we did last year, just to see where we are. We'll be calling on individual members, you know, for a little help. This is probably one of the first things I got to do last year, and I really enjoyed it. I went into high schools I had never been in. I met some really nice young people, males and females, where we were giving out the Junior ROTC Award and giving out the flag certificate. And it was really, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. For the secretary, you have the minutes posted, do you not?
You do.
All right, do we have to approve the minutes?
The minutes are approved, but the finance report is not.
Okay, well, I haven't gotten there yet. Okay. Now to the treasurer. There it is. Nick, you've posted the treasurer's report? All right. Does that have to be voted on? No, thank you. I want you here a lot, because I see how he leans on you.
Yeah, because I'm in trouble.
He did. He saved some bacon down there. He really did, yeah. Joe, again, the accolades and the thank yous for all the work that you do behind the scenes. And by the way, thanks for joining us for lunch and help with the judging of the, you had a little piece of that too. So you had a good year, bud. Appreciate what you do. Any report from our chaplain?
He's still marching on.
He's still marching on. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, Ralph, we've talked to. John, we've talked to. The brochure contest I covered. Night essay, we still don't know the answer on. Now we come to the color guard. I think our color guard local commander, Robert Kittrell, needs to come up here. First of all, Robert's been here probably longer than I've been alive. But when we were at the meeting, Robert was one of 6 recipients, along with Gary Lovell, our district VP, and John Anderson, a good friend from Arlington, of the Patriot Award. And as they say, it don't get any better than that. The Patriot Award is the highest award that we give to people for outstanding service. And for you, Robert, I thank you doubly for what you've done already and what you hopefully will do in the future. But you gifted me with something that I hadn't expected. I got to meet your wife. And we had dinner together, and she's a lovely lady, and I can't tell you how much it's nice to see and meet the other half. In any event, congratulations. While you're here, could I have everybody in the room who has won the Patriot Medal please stand? Take a look around, guys. These are the people that have been doing it for a long time. And my hat's off to you, and my hat's off to you, and that was quite a great ceremony. By the way, only because of, yeah, you can sit down, only because we had such a sparse turnout this morning, I was amazed at the number of members and the names that I know of people who have won the Patriot Medal from this chapter. We have a lot of them. So we should be very, very proud of that. Robert, thank you.
Okay. Watson. Thank you. Tom is Mr. Hospitality. Tom, I don't have a certificate. You got the card.
and he drove us to Chili's, provided the meal, and and then also helped us to leave our room packed with his belongings also, So all of this, and my wife said, hey, we've got to give him something.
Well,
so she has a card that she
she
gave
did.
him, and so.
Well,
anyway.
First of all, it was my pleasure,
He
number one.
tried to pass this off as, I do this for anybody,
Well, it's like,
any officer. Chapter.
I would, you know me, I like to help.
Yeah.
But as my neighbors get tired of me saying, I got the time, you know, I'm retired, you know, so anyhow, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it, had a great time.
Okay.
Yep. John, I talked with John Fairborn earlier, and I think you saw the sheet that we passed out that you see, which is kind of a new annotated version of the articles that can be donated to the veterans, and it's far more extensive than what we thought. This was all due because I went to a meeting, McKinney, I think it was the McKinney meeting, and we had a lady from the hospital that came and spoke to us, and she had this pamphlet, and in the back of the pamphlet was this list of things that could be donated. In my mind, I'm thinking coffee and razors. And then every now and then he'd say, well, you can also get them some underwear, you get them this, and I thought, well, okay. There is so many things there, and they're so appreciative of what they do. So thanks for what you do, both of you, and at the same time, take a look at that list and see if there's anything on there, and of course, we'll take them here and we'll make sure that they get distributed. Mr. Nick, for the CAR?
Oh, CAR. Bradley Sue, help. Can you come forward and tell us about CAR? For some reason, I don't ever manage to get on their mailing list. I don't know why.
Well, we had our state convention weekend before last, and Trevor was absolutely marvelous. He's served as a great state president. And you're right about those little kids. The pee-wees, they call them, they are the cutest things. They're about that high, and there's 3 or 4 of them that just run everywhere. And they wear all white gloves, white shoes, white dresses, and a lot of them are banner carriers and different things. And they also have a lot of contests for pee-wees. And that's the kids under, I think, 8. And in the book that we have, they have all sorts of pictures that go with the different items that you can do. And my great-granddaughter, now my granddaughter was president this year, but my great-granddaughter, who is in it, I will turn 6 this coming week, colored a piggy bank, and when she was coloring it, she asked her grandmother, she said, well, she calls her grandmother Mimi, because I'm grandma. And she says, what's her favorite color? And she said, blue. Well, she picked up the blue, and she painted the bluest pig you have ever seen in your life. Well, I think she got a certificate for painting a blue pig. So, they recognize the little kids and trying to have them be interested in the organization. So we're waiting on all of our certificates that we hope we win this year. I will say this, none of the Burks are running for any office next year. Their mother, Nancy, is having the problem with her thumb that had cancer on it. And Trevor's going off to college, and so she says, we're just going to take a year off from doing state things. But she says, our chapter will be active. So we're looking forward to a great chapter next year.
Thank you, Bradley Sue.
I wanted to say one more thing.
Please do.
it's part of the genealogy. Dick Eastman sends out a little notice every once in a while, and he was bringing up to date the National Archives program that they've been doing, digitizing the War of 1812. It's now A through P that they have done, and I'm real excited because my Mullen is an M, so I can go in and find his records. So the War of 1812 records are slowly being done, but if you have someone between A and P, you can get the records.
All right. Thank you. I don't know how many people in here are a member, but I know that we have at least one member of the Society of 1812. So that's something to look at. By the way, an interesting fact, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he's the one that belongs to every society that exists. Larry, that's it. That's Larry. He's supposed to be sending me something because he showed me on a website a list of over 116 lineage societies. I didn't even know they existed. Now, I don't intend, SAR is enough I need right now. So I'm not really, but I was just amazed to see that there are so many societies out there. But it brought up one thing that I do want to mention before we close the meeting. The efforts of Bradley Sue and the efforts of Nick and anybody else who has been involved with the CAR, as well as anybody who's been involved or is about to get involved with the DAR. I'm going to make you a pledge. As the president for this year, I'm going to get involved with both of those organizations because I'll tell you, if my get involved is about membership and growth of our chapter, there's where we're going to get the biggest boost. I can't tell you how many chapters I heard tell me about their involvement in CAR and tell me about their involvement with DAR. And that's where we can get funnels of new members. There's people out there that belong in our organization that probably haven't thought about it until somebody buzzes them. And I've heard so many times Tom Whitelaw, Tom One, has said, it happens because your grandmother makes you do it. It's about time that we do it ourselves. So I'm going to get involved with that, and I'll keep you abreast of all that. Yes?
Maybe you can help me, David. You know, we had a new chapter for T.L. Holden as the lead.
He helped get it set up at Quanah Parker chapter and Vernon.
And as I understand, he worked closely with the DAR.
In Vernon.
Really, the DAR's effort, we got enough people to get a new chapter.
It's true. Was that number 67?
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
It's that kind
It's in Vernon, near Wichita Falls.
burning.
It's a fur piece. Any other new business? Okay. I'm sorry, that was old business. Any other old business? Yes, sir.
Just a quick reminder for those in attendance today, as will be for the future and all correspondence. It's our 90th anniversary in July. Expect to be called upon to help in some way for us to celebrate. It may be a horn that you have to blow, or it may be that you come and attend a party, or at least something. We want to get everybody involved, and if you know of members that have not attended our active meetings, remind them they're invited. We want to bring back as many as possible, not those 6 feet under, but at least the ones that are still capable of coming, meeting and greeting old friends and members of the chapter. There'll be more coming out to you from the advisory committee very shortly, but this is something special, gang. 90 years this chapter has been in existence, and we're still moving forward.
Question? The subject was celebration. I believe the person was doing that.
Correct.
Where did we go with that? Is that
It was at Brook Hollow Country Club. Remember,
in early?
yeah,
One word was not.
well, it was real nice, and we laid out all our history in one room, and Tracy emceed and did the ceremony, and we had quite a few of longtime members coming and wives. And wives, oh yes, and wives. And it was a lot of fun. In fact, actually, Tom got up on the table and danced a little bit. I didn't have that much to do.
The unfortunate thing about that, first of all, I wasn't here at that one. I wasn't there at that one. I hadn't joined yet. And number two, Joseph wasn't filming, because I would love to have seen that. Matter of fact, that could have been worth a lot of money. Oh, well. Anyhow, thank you, because that was the new business too. It was the 90th anniversary. We're going to be talking about that in the reach out, which is we may just say, okay, here's 2 names, call them, tell them what we're doing. Even if it's just coming to the July meeting. There could be something else, and beyond that, we're still working on that. Okay, anything for the good of the society or the chapter? If not, any bills against the chapter to be voted on? Good. Mr. Nick? All right, this is the part where you got them, smoke them. How many we got?
Oh, we had 23 that signed up, 20 members and 3 guests. We're now down to, if I didn't miss the count in here, we're now down to 18 people, so it's 7 books. That means about 1 out of every 2 people is going home with a book. So if you ever complain to me that you never read anything, now's your chance. I'll count up for you.
All right, and while Nick is doing that, we had a discussion this morning. By the way, did everybody get the little card that was at Nick's desk that has all of our 4 requirements? I got that idea from East Fork Trinity, and I thought, what a really good idea. Stick that in your wallet. Then you never have to be concerned. Because I'll admit, it's been almost 2 years that I've been a member now. It'll be 2 years next month. I haven't got them all memorized. I hate to admit it, but I don't. Okay, let's read some numbers. I need 7 winners. I need 724. Okay, let me call a different number.
No, you don't. I'm about 6 months without even a chance.
By the way, while he's going back there, for those of you who might have former prizes that you've won, or some interesting books at your house that you've read, please don't hesitate to bring them to a meeting as well, because it saves our Treasury discretionary fund from having to go to half-price books and buy some of these. Next meeting, I'm unfortunately not going to be here. I'm going to be out of the country, but I gave Nick a book this morning along with some others that Jerry Pinkerton gave me. Next month, you'll be able to get the best book I've ever read about the Battle of Brandywine. And I'm very close to my heart because that was where my ancestor fought. Okay, 731.
Oh, right here.
Hey. Oh, look at this, John Fairborn, all right. How about 727? All right, Chalmers. 722. Right there? All right, Jeff. All right. 728. All right, our guest. How nice. How many more we got? How about 732? 732. 1. See, it pays. We should have 1 left, right? Two more? Okay. 736. Right here. Robert, it's your day, bud. Last one is 720. All right. All right. Chaplain Pounders, would you close the meeting for me?
Stay with me for just a moment. God, we're so pleased that we could be here today to celebrate the freedom, the joy, and the wonder of this democracy, this republic democracy that we live in. We know it's in line with exactly what you have given for us to do in this world. We are glad that we're able to coincide with the teaching of peace, prosperity, and good health for everyone. And so as we face the beginning of Easter, we just give thanks for the resurrection that each of us has every day into this wonderful life that we live in. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing and follow me in the recessional. Until we meet again, let us remember our obligations to our forefathers who gave us our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, an independent Supreme Court, and a nation of free men. We are adjourned.